Welcome. It's another week of Fed Friday with me, Joe Gleason, and my brother and fellow FRC, Thom Gleason. How are you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Joe. How are you today?
Doing well. I know it's been pretty chilly up there in the Midwest and Chicago area. You guys staying warm and cozy?
We are. We're elated that we have reached double digits today in temperature. So, yeah, it's getting warm.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's 75 and sunny here in Phoenix. So we'll leave that out, right?
Edit that out. Nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I love it. But I'll remember this in July when you're out and about and we're sizzling down here.
Exactly. What are we talking about today?
Well, one of the things that I get asked about quite a bit is, as I mentioned, as I introduced you, I said fellow FRC. You and I are both FRCs. So what I thought we'd do is just kind of give an overview. It's good every once in a while to remind folks what is an FRC, why is it important to them, and what do you have to do to be one, right? So I'll let you take that away and look, what is an FRC?
I don't know. Check out our website. I'm just kidding. I mean, check out our website. I'm not kidding about that, but you can put that on the comments or whatever, right? The FRC, and when you mop that up in post production. But basically, what an FRC.
Our website is scrolling across the bottom. I don't know if you saw that or not.
There we go. New this week.
It just added that in, yeah.
Woo. We're really moving along, but so really, what an FRC is that we are OPM compliant, so that we've adhered to all their guidelines. We have FINRA ethics, so we've gone through training and have been set up to really specialize in federal benefits, and taken the additional steps to become really well versed in the unique nature of your benefits. And that's really kind of like what I feel like that's like getting a C- when it comes to being a professional working with federal employees. You should know what the federal employees' unique benefits are. But a lot of times folks that just want to kind of create a niche for themselves that work in the financial space might not have that training, and there could be some pitfalls there.
Right.
If you're not, and I mean, well-meaning pitfalls, like they're not trying to give you bad advice. They just don't know, hey, if you don't take the spousal benefit on a pension, what the numbers could be, and if that really in your situation are going to retire and you are in a situation where you need to do that, it could really screw you up because you can't undo some of these things.
I think that's the biggest thing is that, you work all of these years building and saving and getting those years and having that, that eye on retirement, and you're grinding, you're working, you're making the government a better place as an employee. And then just as you get close, right at the very end, you just get one little thing that's the wrong advice or bad advice. And it's kind of like putting the toothpaste back in the tube, right? You can't do that. So like once you make a mistake on some of these decisions, you can't fix it. So you got to measure twice and cut once, and just make sure that you're working with someone. If you're not doing it yourself, if you're working with someone that knows what they're doing, that can help you navigate these waters and have you set up for a successful retirement, right?
For sure. And it's not, so we've each got, there's a minimum requirement. We have to have 2 years of experience. But we've each got over 20 years. You're closer to 30. Over 20.
Yeah, I've been in the financial service industry for, almost 28 years. Yeah, it's crazy.
So I'm over 25, and you lured me into this. So it's your fault that I'm
lured.
I'm not going to tell you that I know everything about all things all the time in every situation. So if I don't know it or you don't know it, we collaborate and haven't got it figured out. We have a whole team behind us that also that they do know it. And so that's where I'm confident knowing that if I don't personally, or, I give you a call or communicate with you, if you don't know it, we have a team behind us that does. We have a couple groups that we work through that can shed some light on, because the landscape changes. Things are a little different this year than the year before. Different things have changed. So
with Doge last year, we were seeing new change. There was new adventures every day with Doge, right? That was kind of crazy. But,
and we've, in our careers, we've seen good times, we've seen bad times, we've seen unique times. Like we were doing this during 9/11. We were doing this kind of stuff through the whole COVID thing. Can we say that on YouTube? Is that a word we can use now?
Yeah.
But we had a transition to remote type work versus when we used to have our offices. So we've kind of seen a lot in our travels. and we bring that perspective to how we put forth our planning. But yeah, our team's great, and
Yeah, we just want to help you weather all the storms, and it's important to keep this in mind. And it's good that you brought those times up, because when you've been in a relatively successful part of a good bull run for the most part in the market, although we've seen some wavering here recently, some more volatility. We've seen a lot of positivity, and it's easy to sort of get lost in that. And it's good to have that
recency
perspective.
bias. Is that what that is? That
Recency
what the
bias, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, the FRC just kind of helps us stay on top of the federal benefits. It helps us really give you good advice to make sure that you can maximize all of your benefits, to make sure that you have a successful retirement and that you're able to just not have to worry about it. And so that's I think it's great that you brought that you were able to explain that, and share some of the insights of why it's
well,
important to work with an FRC.
exactly. You're welcome. But I think in the last year, um, we've seen a lot more concern about the market, and it's with
Right.
that experience as a backdrop that we maybe are seeing. When I was jumping into this thing in the early 2000s, and I was naive about like, hey, the interest rates are just going to go up. I remember telling clients like, average like 6% growth every year, and not even thinking, well, there's going to be years where you're like, that was just kind of
Right.
like a bad return. But like,
Right.
so now we're
What?
starting
You
to
only got
see
six? Yeah, in
what,
your bank in your bank CD, you only got
right?
6%, right? So
Um,
yeah,
but now we're getting a lot of questions about, hey, it feels like maybe we've seen the top of the market, and I've seen things in from third party sources verifying, if, like we talked about last time with our Buffett indicator showing
yeah,
strongly overvalued. So we can link that to this chat too and let folks know it's not us saying that. I think it is a time to look at concern, going into more of an economic, some potential
yeah. And a lot of the, a
regression in
lot
the
of
market.
a lot of the big investors are actually. I mean, I'm seeing that in my resources and the things that I study to be prepared, to stay on top of current trends and so forth. I'm seeing a lot of. The big investors are starting to move over into move out of the market and move into more conservative positions, and so that's really part of when we look at those options for folks. One of the things we want to it's not so much that you're saving money, it's where you're saving your money, right? And
Right.
so that's the next part of what we wanted to talk about here, and sort of the second phase is, if you are considering safe money alternatives, one of the things we would stress is that you don't want to put it underneath the mattress, right? You want to still make sure you're earning interest and making sure that you're able to outpace some of those things that are working against your growth, right? So like things like inflation and taxes. We want to make sure that you're still putting yourself in a position where you can have success and earn interest and better rates of return, even in a safe money position, right?
Right.
So
Well, when we think about the time and the different chapters of life that the people we're talking to are in, we're normally talking to folks that are within 5 years of retiring. Now, if you're 6 or 7 years out or more, I'm not going to hang up the phone on you, but we're looking to have conversations predominantly with folks that are, really in that sort of final descent, put your tray tables and your chair up before we land kind of into
right.
retirement. And so,
Or folks that already are retired and they're trying
and
to make some
thousand
tweaks to
percent.
some of the things they're doing, right?
So
So
the advice that you would get at your phase in the game is going to be different than I would tell somebody who's like my son or daughter's age, just
right.
starting investing. And so and if you're a sports fan, I know we're both into like our teams, our Chicago teams, but
Right.
the part of the game that we're in is, we're getting closer to the goal line here. We may not run the same play, the 40-yard bomb down the field. You don't need to. It's a different phase of the game. So like that's where we're
Yeah.
talking here. And so if we want
The
to,
tools and strategies that work for someone who's 20 is going to be something totally different than somebody who's near retirement or in retirement. Just it responsibly, it should be, right.
and everybody's situation is different, which is why we are strongly encouraging. We offer a complimentary consultation, is because we need to get to the bottom of where you're at, what your goals are, and how, if there's anything we can even do to help you. I mean, we're not the type of firm that's going to be offering the hottest stock tip that gets the outrageous returns every year for reasons we just described. And we're not like a one solution fits all. Everybody gets the same little widget type of financial tool.
Right.
So we need to have a conversation so we can say, hey, these are some of the strategies that we would use, or I think you're in good shape. You might just keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
You'd be the first to say that.
Hold tight for now. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to do, I think next week's show, we'll get more into some of that sort of accumulation, distribution, and more of that risk stuff. But I want to set the table a little bit here as we have over the next few minutes, because we want to talk about a strategy or a concept that will help you kind of be mindful of the where you potentially position your funds, right? So I started to say you don't want to put your money underneath your mattress, so to speak, because you're not going to earn any interest there. And I want to share this infographic just to give you an idea of where you save your money is also important. And here is why.
Today's teachable moment. This is our finance strategy of the day, or whatever. We're gonna have to come up with like a name with like a sponsor for it or something, right?
Brought to you
by Federal Benefits Advisors.
Right, exactly. So the cool thing with this, you were so impressed by this when you first learned about this all those years ago that you made a license plate out of it. This was your license plate for the early 2000s.
It really was.
The Rule of 72.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was. I think Einstein called compound interest, which is what this sort of flushes out or illustrates. He called compounding interest the eighth wonder of the world. And if you understand this and understand how you get money working for you and to work within a time frame, that's how wealthy people become wealthy, and how people who need to have, I'm not working anymore. I'm not putting any new dollars into my retirement assets. So I need the money that I have working and growing as best over that time frame as possible. Explain it using keep it simple though. Explain the concept here, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Rule of 72, as you mentioned, it's it illustrates how compounding interest works. And so it's very important because, as we said, it's not so much that you're saving, it also matters where you're saving. And we're not going to get into those tools and strategies today, but we're going to set the table by sharing the Rule of 72. So let's say a person has $10,000 and you're, 60 years old, right? And you want that $10,000 to double. If you were to put that $10,000 into a savings account that's earning 1%, it will take you 72 years for that $10,000 to become $20,000.
I'm 135 years old and I'm going to get that $20,000. Right.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, inflation has been a little over 3 to 4% over the last several years. So you've already got that working against you. So if you were just to tweak that a little bit and you were to say, okay, I'm going to go from 1% interest to 8% interest, or even 4% interest, that 4%.
Well, your G fund is around 4% for the last year or so. So if we have,
it's going to take you, it's going to take you about 18 years to double that money. Whereas going to even 8%, you can double that in 9 years. So you see how where you save is very important. Now, the trick is also to be mindful of the risk that you're taking in your attempt to get more interest, right?
Yeah, because we're using time again as our friend, and we'll talk about it next time. But clawing back and taking 6, 7, 8 years to get back to the $10,000 original principal is also a concern. So yeah, that's what we'll be diving into in the coming chats. But it's just great.
So it's a good way. Good couple steps here. Like, what is an FRC? Why is that important? Why would you work with an FRC versus just calling the call center and having the TSP folks answer your questions? You actually get advice rather than just sort of an administrative answer, and then just compounding and how important that can be to your portfolio. So. Good stuff here today. And I look forward to the next, kind of building off of this as we go. If you have any questions or if there's anything we can do for you, our website's down below, and looking forward to connecting with y'all soon. And if there's anything else that you've got, Tom, otherwise we'll wrap it up.
No, it was great. We'll look forward to talking again soon next week.
Yep. Give us a call. Take care.
Thanks.